All right, Madam Chair, you are live.
Excellent. Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining the September meeting of the Annapolis Education Commission. We have people coming on board right now, but I wanted to get us started and get us live so we can start talking about education in Annapolis and be respectful of everybody's time here tonight. So I'm just going to pull up the agenda. For those of you on the commission, you should have received the agenda in the mail. I appreciate your patience as I get myself on board with things. It'll hopefully be a little bit smoother in the future. And also my poor 18-year-old won't have come home with COVID for his 18th birthday yesterday in the future either. So, um, yeah.
No
Just a
fun.
heads up, it is going around. When I called the school, they said they're seeing a lot of it. So everybody, please take care of your health because
Mhm.
it is no fun. Okay. I'm pulling up the agenda. As I said in the email that went out to the commission, we do not have the meetings yet tonight for last month's. We are going to postpone that part of the agenda of approving the minutes until next month. But I just wanted to please put out a call. Please, if anyone is interested in being a secretary and helping with the minutes, it would be very much appreciated. So,
Yes, if I could just jump in. I just had someone join just labeled iPhone. Can you tell me who you are, please?
Grace Matthews.
Grace. Okay, great. Bring you forward. Sorry, Jess.
nope, no worries. Okay. So let's officially get this started. And we'll call to order the Annapolis Education Commission meeting for Wednesday, September 25th, 2024. It's 6:06 p.m. and we are live online. We will do a roll call and do and then we will go into the revision or approval of the agenda. So I will just go in the order. We'll go in the order. So Ward 1 is Fish Stark, and Fish is not here. He had a previous engagement, but he was officially approved and is an official new member of the Annapolis Education Commission. So that is great. And then in Ward 2, that's something I should have pulled up was the list of everybody in the various wards. Go ahead.
Jamie is word 2, right?
I'm 3. Okay.
Okay, sorry, I couldn't couldn't hear. Jamie is has something. She just emailed us and said that she had something come up. So she also is not going to be making it tonight. But Jamie is our Ward 2 representative and is a parent of multiple children in the Annapolis school system. For Ward 3,
Excuse me. President Enid Collison Lee. 2 kids that went through the Annapolis feeder system, as well as being a teacher in the county for over 40 years.
all right, perfect. And then for Ward 4,
Alderwoman Finlayson, Ward 4, and also the City Council representative, former educator, Anne Arundel County Public Schools, 35 years, past president of the Teachers Association of Anne Arundel County, and a number of other education initiatives.
awesome. And Ward 5,
India Oaks, Ward 5, parent of a ninth grader and lifelong advocate for our public schools.
thank you. India. Ward 6,
Hi, my name is Corey Mackel. I am the representative for Ward 6. I currently have 2 high school children at Annapolis High School.
and you're living to tell the tale. Ward 7,
Laura Booth, Ward 7. I have a freshman at Annapolis High and also am feeling the stress of parenting a teenager. And my older one graduated from Annapolis High in 2021.
Okay. Ward 8 is me. I'm Jess Packler. I have 4 kids in the Annapolis school system, and I have a senior at Annapolis High School, a sophomore at Annapolis High School, 7th grader at Annapolis Middle, and a 5th grader at Eastport Elementary. And looking forward to a great year. I'm also involved in the PTAs at all of those schools in various ways. So, and then at large, we have, we have Grace. Grace, are you on board?
Yes, Grace Matthews, 47-year educator, taught elementary, middle, high school, and I retired as a guidance counselor.
Okay, and we have Lily.
Odessa. Good
Sorry,
evening, everyone.
online it says Lily, so I was reading it from the thing.
Yeah, that's fine. Good evening, Odessa Ellis. I have 3 children, adult children who graduated from Annapolis High. And I've worked at Annapolis High for almost 20 years as a substitute teacher.
Yay.
Odessa, do you want your name changed online on the city website to Odessa instead of Lily? Which would you prefer?
What on the website? You say the city website?
Yeah, on the city website.
I think Lily. I'll keep my first name.
Okay, perfect. All right, and then Pam is also at large. She is she's not sure whether she's going to be able to join us. She might be late and she might not be able to make it. And that's Pam Bukowski. And then we have Janet.
Hi, Janet Norman, parent of 2018 and 2021 Annapolis High grads, went military pathways, if anyone's interested in that, and past chair of the Education Commission. Thank you, Jess.
You're welcome. All right, and then we have Tola.
How you doing today? My name is Adetola Ajayi, or Tola. I'm the African American Community Service Specialist for the Mayor's Office, also the representative from Annapolis Education Commission. I have a son that just graduated from Annapolis High, and an 11th grader at Annapolis High.
All right, and then Dr. Tobin.
Hi, I'm Joanna Tobin. I'm your representative for District 6, which includes the city of Annapolis, on the Board of Education and have been since 2020. Thank you.
Perfect. All right, thank you.
And she's a Annapolis High parent and former PTSA member for 3 years and secretary for 3 years.
Yeah, trying to make it short, but yes.
Exactly. All right, excellent. So we have, thank you all for being here tonight. We have our agenda, which was all emailed out to you, but it's also on your screen. So everyone take a couple minutes to look at that. The one thing that we are going to change is we are going to postpone this, the approval of the minutes from last month. So with that revision, does anyone else have any other revisions? Yeah, Enid?
I was just going to make a motion that with the revision of the minutes that we approve the agendas received.
Okay, is there a second?
Second.
Janet seconds, okay. Well, let's just do, is there anyone opposed? It's easier that way online. Seeing no movement, the agenda is approved. Okay, so up next we have public testimony. Julian, sorry, I should have let you introduce yourself, Julian, but Julian is our tech help from the city of Annapolis. He is the man behind the scenes, behind the curtain. Julian, is there anyone waiting for public testimony tonight?
None that I see.
Okay.
So no.
All right. Does anyone have any public testimony that they wanted to make, any testimony they wanted to make? Anyone that's online right now have any testimony they want to make before we go to Dr. Tobin? Okay, Dr. Tobin, take it away. You're muted.
Sorry, didn't take. There we go. So thank you as always for having me here. I'll update a few things, and then as always, if there are any questions, I'm happy to take them. First and foremost, for the Annapolis area, on Monday night, the 30th, is an additional Partners in Progress event at Bates Middle School starting at 6 p.m. Where Dr. Bedell will be there, give some updates, and then there's an opportunity for anyone there, to talk to Dr. Bedell, or other senior staff will be there. So any area that if you have a concern, just a question, or somebody you want to talk to figure out who to go to and where to go, the heads of the various departments will be there, and there are signs. Since Dr. Bedell came on, he's been doing this annually, which I personally think is a really good thing. There was a Partners in Progress at the beginning of this round, which got confusing because it was really something sponsored by the NAACP, and it was confusing. Everybody was not clear on the agenda. And so I asked Dr. Bedell to schedule an additional Partners in Progress, also because the Annapolis area tends to be the first one on the schedule when they put these things out. Now, let me be clear. You can always go to any one of them around the county. You don't have to go to the one in your area, but obviously it's more convenient often for people to go to the one in their area. But, should it ever happen that you simply can't make it to the one in the Annapolis area, you can go to any that you wish to attend. So that's most immediate. We've also been having meetings of something that press releases have been put out on, but many people, there's a lot going on. It's a innovative scheduling work group. And we had a meeting this afternoon. And the reason for this work group is for the past 2 legislative sessions, we have been trying to get a bill through the legislature to shift the language, which currently reads that schools must be in session 180 days and 1,000, whatever it is, hours. We're trying to get a bill passed, frankly, only for Anne Arundel County. We're not concerned about the rest of the state. That would move that language to or. So you're either in session 180 days or a certain number of hours. And the reason for that is we have to do a lot of strange things with our calendar to make the 180-day number, which, as many parents are aware, includes a lot of weird half days, which are very hard on families, those early dismissals. And most educators and admin I've spoken to don't feel it's the best instruction time when you have sort of a half day. And the other half of that working day for our educators is usually professional development. And there's thinking that, it sort of shortchanges both things, both the instruction and the professional development. So Dr. Bedell has been trying to get some flexibility in this, also because the Blueprint for Maryland's Future emphasizes innovation and being able to maneuver so that we can support and accommodate the things that Blueprint calls for, including, especially at the high school level, a greater emphasis on CTE, career and technical education, and opportunities for internships, and all of the many things that go into ensuring our students are truly career and college ready when they graduate. So his concern was it's hard to innovate when you have a pretty rigid structure. So the second year, last year that we were before the legislature, it became very clear that there were a lot of concerns about why we wanted this and what sort of things we were proposing or would propose or could propose as options. So this work group was convened, which includes folks from all our bargaining units, folks, community representatives, people from the PTAs, state legislators, board members, obviously, senior staff, other members of the community, to come together and talk about just sort of the pros and dig into these different models that are out there. Some of them are shortened school years. Some of them are lengthened school days. Some of them are what's known as 45-15, which is a kind of a quarter system where you have a 15-day break between each quarter. Some are the kind of a trimester system, which is 60-20, right? You have 60 days of instruction, 20 days off, various other things. Not because we're setting up to do this, but because we wanted input from the community about what the thinking was on this. So we had our third meeting today. And the idea behind all of this is, depending, on the feedback from the community, we would have recommendations or not recommendations, whether these were things we even wanted to look into, should we be able to get this legislative change. And there's going to be a report produced at some point. It's going to be put out to the public in draft form for feedback. And then we will, finalize. So with that feedback taken in, so we can give that report to the state legislature as we bring forth this this bill again this year. And the idea is, say there was a recommendation to look into something like the 45-15 structure. That would probably be 2 years of planning to do a pilot in a single school. This is not something we're talking about tomorrow, suddenly trying to change around the entire AACPS system to do. We are just looking for ways to begin to set up structures that we think can ultimately help our students and, frankly, really do some of the transformation that we all know education needs, public education in this time. So if you're hearing about the work group, that is what is going on. There will be, in several weeks' time, I think, a draft report put out, opportunities for input, for feedback, for testimony about it. Nothing, this is not about anybody waking up in a year and finding that the school system schedule has been completely upended at all. This is just about trying to lay out what are some other ways we could do things to better support our students and our families. So that's what that is. Additionally, as I'm sure you know, we're in budget season yet again. We're starting the annual move. We have initially approved the capital budget, but of course that comes back as part of the superintendent's proposed budget, which drops the second meeting in December. But this is the time to begin, if there are people, if there's schools you as commissioners are associated with, or in your wards, you want to put out the call for, what are the concerns? What are the things people are seeing? What is it that they want us to focus on? I will tell you, we've been told that from the state perspective, it's going to be a tough budget year. And I've got a lot of concerns. If you watched any of the board meetings, both the workshop and the vote on the capital budget, we've got things like the state's Aging Schools program that's being phased out. That's where we got money, for example, to fix elevators that needed fixing, things like that. we're still going to go looking for that money, but it's going to have to come out of county money now. There won't be state money for that. As you know, a lot more of our capital budget is state-based than our operating budget. So, you know, we're looking at a tough state budget year. It remains to be seen what the county year will look like. My goal is to advocate, as always, for what our students actually need, and then fight hard for that, rather than start with, well, they've told us this is what they can give us, so, you know, that's what we'll ask for. I think we need to keep moving in this direction. The board has put together its initial budget priorities, which is really just guidance for the superintendent and his staff. But I think the things that are on it are the things you've been hearing about. I'm particularly I'm always concerned about employee compensation, but we have a real crisis with our food service workers this year, and some other of our, frankly, our lowest paid employees that we've got to keep working to push. Many of you know Annapolis High is very short on food service workers this year, and that disproportionately impacts our most vulnerable students. So, you know, it's got a real impact behind it. Obviously, mental health supports continues to be a need. Social workers, counselors, and so forth. We're slightly better than we were, but we're not where we need to be. And we are still fighting for that extra social worker at Annapolis High, and, you know, all the other things we know we've been working hard towards. Finally, some good news. I've had an opportunity not only to talk to Ms. Wayland, but principals from around the county and some teachers from around the county. And we are actually hearing quite good reports on the rollout of the cell phone guidelines that were put out. And there's an interesting metric that we're seeing that seems to go along with this. And I think Ms. Wayland actually mentioned this in the PTSA meeting in Annapolis High, for those of you who were there, but I've heard this repeated in other schools. The media specialists are seeing more books taken out than they have over many years. So it would seem that there's more reading going on, which is always, in my opinion, a good sign. But I've heard from our educators that they are very pleased with the rollout of this, because they feel the admin, again, across the whole county. I've spoken with people throughout the district. They feel admin has been consistent across the board with ensuring that, you know, implementation, it happens, and that the educators feel supported by their admin in this, and it's very clear what the expectations are and what has to happen. So, and that was certainly the message that Dr. Bedell delivered pretty clearly to principals. So, so that's sort of the top of the line right now. So any questions, I am happy to take.
Dr. Tobin?
Yes,
you hear
Ms.
me?
Yes, Ms. Odessa.
Right. Can you give me some information? Is there a virtual school going on, and how does that work?
There is a virtual.
Mm-hmm.
There is a virtual academy. It is a separate AACPS school. You have to apply to it, and it is grades 3 through 12, because it was very clear. I mean, we always knew, you know, through COVID, even before COVID, that you don't want very young children online. We didn't have a choice in COVID, but in setting up a separate virtual academy, you know, we did not want something that started at kindergarten. We wanted, you know, the developmental guidelines suggest that 3rd grade is kind of the minimum where you want to do that. And it's really there for students for whom there's great value in being online. either in some cases for health issues, in some cases for just their comfort, the way they do better. We certainly had a number of students during COVID who found they did better online. And we had a certain number of teachers who really liked teaching virtually. And so, you know, you want to take those practitioners who really are good at it and give them that opportunity. And you want to give opportunities for students for whom that is optimal, the chance to be a part of that. So that's what that is. It's literally a separate school. It's just not a bricks and mortar school.
Okay, because I know a kid, I mean, he's 18 and he's struggling, and he's working now in the evenings. And it seems like it would be, you know, pretty good for him to, you know, he's 18, you know, he only needs a certain amount of credits for graduation. Is that the ideal type student that should apply for?
I think it depends. And I think there should probably be some, because the other option, of course, is evening high school for many students who have other schedule considerations, or frankly, again, because I make it a point never to miss an evening high school graduation. It's one of my favorite graduations that I go to every year. And I speak with the students who are graduating. And of course, they're from all around the county. And so often I hear students who said, you know, I reached a point where I realized this is the kind of schedule that works for me. You know, if I can do school during these times and in this way, I did a whole lot better. Some kids, it's work. You know, some students, I've seen the student speaker, I think last year, it worked for her. She had a baby and she was able to finish out high school in the evening high school, and that worked for her. So there are lots of different reasons for individual needs, but they've done, I have to say, evening high school continues to do a great job for a lot of students. And so that's another option if this young man just frankly needs more flexibility in his schedule. And a lot of students like evening high school because they feel they get more personal attention because it tends to be smaller. And so there are lots of different things I think that can be explored, but I would hope there's a counselor or someone who can assist this young man in looking at some other options, because there are a couple of different options.
So how large is the virtual academy? Do you know how many seats it has?
I think right now, I think they've still got some space. I think their max previously was about 500. I think they may be at about 440 this year. So there is some space. Yep.
All right.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Laura?
I had a couple questions about the Chromebooks. We saw that the loaner program was announced this week, which is great news. But I had some questions. It said that if a kid gets a Chromebook, that they need to carry it back and forth with them, which sort of seems to defeat the purpose of having school Chromebooks and home Chromebooks because they were getting damaged in transit. And the other question I have was, they said that either families are responsible for either buying insurance or pay repairs. What about our families, our farms families who can't afford? I mean, if you have, even though I know the insurance wasn't a lot of money, if you have 4 kids, coming up with $100 to insure 4 Chromebooks may be, outside the realm of possibility. So do we have any programs in place for I'm afraid that it seems like it's great that they're available, but it seems like the families who need them the most still won't have the access to them.
I'm gonna have to go back and look at this. I thought we had a waiver structure for farms family. I mean, similar to say AP test score, test fees and that kind of thing. That's generally what we do. But let me see if I can find out more about that, just to make sure I've got that straight, because that's a pretty obvious problem if you can't. the insurance is helpful to some because at least you sort of know what your cost is. But as you said, it's still money, and if somebody has it, they have it, and if they don't, they don't, you know. So we usually have some sort of waiver structure for those kinds of situations based on something like farms or whatever. But
Okay.
yeah,
Because if families aren't, I was thinking that if families decide, oh, I can't afford the insurance, so we can't get one, then what do we have? Where do we fall with homework? Like, are we going to be allowed to, assign online homework or not? If not all the kids have, I mean, I think that was sort of the whole problem, is that not all the kids had access to machines at home. So we're back where we belong. And I don't know, do you know anything about it said in there that the kids who get them are expected to carry them back and forth, which I still don't understand because, if like at the high school, for example, just because maybe 5 kids in the first period brought their own machines, if there are 30 kids that are in that classroom second period, they still have to have 30 Chromebooks on the cart so that all the kids in the next class have access to machines. So that also didn't make any sense to me.
Well, I think, again, I'd have to have a little more conversation, but I think the thinking is if a Chromebook is now designated as quote unquote belonging to a certain student, the school doesn't want that sitting in the building without the student, right? The student now has responsibility for that Chromebook, whereas just the classroom carts are a different matter, right? Those are attached to the building, so to speak.
I thought the whole point of not giving every kid their own Chromebook was that when everybody had their own Chromebook and they were carrying them around from school to home and back again, that they were getting broken. So my understanding when they originally talked about this in the spring was that everyone would turn their Chromebooks in, and then we would have school Chromebooks for use only at school. And if you needed one for use at home, you could borrow one for home, but that they weren't expected to be going back and forth like that.
I think the difference, as I understand it, the difference is that when everybody was just sort of handed a Chromebook and they were taken back and forth, I mean, we saw like 42% of them were either missing or damaged when they supposedly got turned in. I think the difference here is, okay, you make a decision if you want a loaned Chromebook. So now you have a Chromebook that you take home, you treat it like it's yours and you're responsible for it. It's just not handed out to everyone, right? There's a decision that's being made here. We wanted to make sure that any student that didn't have access either to a family laptop or their own at home could have a Chromebook to have it at home, right? Because we know, especially as you get further up, you need it. But it's a conscious decision that each family or each student makes. It's not just sort of handed out to everyone, because there were people who didn't need them or didn't want them. And so
I'm struggling with the idea that we were told that not everybody was going to have them because somehow this was going to save us money. And I'm really struggling to understand how this is really saving us money if we're still having Chromebooks in the classrooms. And we're still providing, and we're providing Chromebooks for home, and kids are carrying them back and forth, which increases the risk of damage and whatnot.
The Chromebooks in the schools, as I understand it, aren't structured so that at any given moment, there's a Chromebook for every kid in the building, right? Yeah. That's why you have carts that move around. Whereas before, you started with the idea that every kid in the building had a Chromebook.
Right.
Okay.
But we spent 4 years. No, I know, but we spent 4 years moving everything online. So really, kids need them in every class because we spent 4 years making sure that everything was available online. And all the teachers I talked to at the beginning of the year were really scrambling because they had spent 4 years moving everything online, and now they didn't have a Chromebook in every classroom. So I guess I'm just trying to understand how this is supposed to work.
Look, the short answer is we are figuring it out because we had to, suddenly give out Chromebooks. We knew all that money got pumped into it and we knew it was going to go away. And so now we have a situation where I mean, we've done better than many counties, to be perfectly honest, on budgeting forward with this, but it remains the case that there are things that have not been, that I think are still going to have to be accounted for in terms of budget for the real cost of 21st century education, which means a whole lot of stuff is online. And, you know, that's everything from this insurance issue to you know, where these Chromebooks are actually going and how to know that we have what we need, and they keep getting rolled over at the appropriate, you know, age, and the maintenance is taken care of, and people are accountable for the upkeep of them. I mean, obviously an accident happens, it happens, but you know, we were seeing things that was pretty clear were not accidents. And so I don't think we've got it figured out completely, to be perfectly honest with you. And I think this is an ongoing, and is going to be an ongoing budget issue that we have to get real about.
So Joanna, I have a question to sort of follow up on Laura, in the same thing. One thing you said, so are you saying that if a student gets a loaner device, then that's taking, I just want to make sure I understood, is that then coming from, if there's like a pool of Chromebooks at Severna Park High School and a student says that they need a loaner device, does that come from the pool of Chromebooks that are on the carts, or is that a separate pool that is simply for loaners?
I am not sure about that. My sense, and again, I need to double check this. My sense is there were sort of two pools. There was the pool of Chromebooks that teachers told their department chairs, here's what I need, right, in the building for my classes. And then there is the loaner program, which is families, individual students saying, no, we need a Chromebook for our student.
I mean, I hope that would be the case, because obviously there are certain schools that are going to need more Chromebooks than other schools, right? That's going to be an issue. I also I mean, I have a super responsible child. I have some that are not as responsible, but I have a super responsible child who never he had a Chromebook that lived at school, and he had a Chromebook that he has on his desk. He had his own Chromebook. And over the 4 years of COVID to now, that Chromebook reached the end of its life. So I sort of feel like when we're saying 42%, I mean, 4 years of cheap Chromebooks, those are not the highest end Chromebooks. They're not the best Chromebooks. Like 4 years of cheap Chromebooks, 42% actually seems like a pretty good number. That, you know, that the fact that 58% of the Chromebooks that were returned were usable, that seems to me like a good number. And then I also worry about the equity of us compared to the surrounding school systems, which are still providing one-to-one Chromebooks for all of their students, right? So how does that, if for our kids in high school in particular that are in IB programs, that are in AP programs, that can take out during their bus ride home, they can take out their computer and work on it. They can sit at lunch and they can work on a computer. Our students are not having that same opportunity, particularly because at the same time that all this is happening, the free internet programs that were being offered in our cluster, in the public housing and other low-income communities is all gone. So the only time to use a Chromebook for some of those students is at school. And then the only way they can get them is to go to Panther 30 minutes, where they have to now choose between going to the media center to get on a Chromebook in the media center, or going to a club, or seeking extra help. They only have 30 minutes every day, like 30 minutes a day, as opposed to being able to have, you know, Panther Hour and have 30 minutes to go to the media center, say, and still be able to participate in a club or get support or take a makeup test or whatever it is that's needed. And then that option is gone. And if their parents decline to pay for insurance or say that's not something that we can do, you know, how are those students being supported? To me, this seems like one of those situations that we saw quite a bit of during the beginning of COVID, where we're solving for a middle class problem and ignoring the people who really need the umbrella to catch them, right? We're solving for, okay, well, but anyway, I just wanted to say that. And then
Well,
Janet.
I wanted to watch what Jessica
I'm
said
sorry,
too.
ladies. I literally have to go in a minute. Sorry.
Okay.
So
ahead,
I know
Janet.
Janet is trying to.
I just have a quick point I want to make to you, Dr. Tobin. I would say, can you take a look at how the press releases are coming out in terms of information to us? They'll have a title like the last one, news release, 6th school location added for Partners in Progress community events. That tells you nothing. It doesn't tell you the date. It doesn't tell you the location. And then it says, please click on the link. So you have to get 3 steps into that email and a 5 to 7 minute commitment before you can even figure out what is coming out of the school system. I mean, that does not work. The title of the news release has to give you the date and time of what they're talking about and why we should care. So that's just one thing. I also just want to thank you for reminding people that they need to advocate, and I want to get our community to know that they have to go before the budget town halls of the county executive for those food service workers, and we need to bring it up at county council. Go to a county council meeting and testify for 2 minutes and bring that up. And I just can't say it can't be me anymore because I've done it for so many years and I'm the only one going to those meetings with the county council and stuff. And they need fresh faces who have kids currently in the system. So thank you for what you're doing. And I'll follow up on some structural improvements to see.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, Joanna. I appreciate it. I'm sorry.
I appreciate it. I'm sorry I have to run tonight. It's a crazy night. But thank you for everything. And I will see you soon. Take care.
Thank you.
Bye.
Who is HT3? Did somebody fall off and come?
I think that's Adatola.
Oh, okay. Gotcha. Gotcha. Okay. All right. So, if there's any questions that we have regarding, everything that Dr. Tobin was speaking about, if we can ask the questions now and, or you can email them to the Annapolis Education Gmail and we can put them together to send to her. Janet?
I just wanted to finish up because I didn't have enough time to ask what I want to say regarding Dr. Tobin's, issues that she brought up. The innovative scheduling work group, I just wanted to make sure a lot of times we are not included in the invites to some of these, calendar committee or other things. And people on the committee come to it from a middle-class suburban high school perspective, perhaps. And they don't have our kids and our community's needs in mind. So yes, there is an opportunity to provide public comment after the fact, but I don't see how we're getting, if you're not at the table, you're being served for lunch there. We need to be at the table more with what AACPS is doing and thinking about.
Agreed.
And we're not involved in that. I think we also need to be asking the PTAs to give feedback and get them to advocate more, and get connected with, okay, who's our CAC rep? What do they know about us? There's so many separate little pipelines of how the school system allegedly receives input. How are we getting that, and how are we getting our elected representatives to speak for us in front of the Board of Ed and the County Council? So the next item on the agenda, Janet, is the commission priorities for the 2024-25 school year. So my plan was to go around and talk. Those sound like those types of things. So why don't we move on to that next item agenda, which is the, as I said, the
priorities for the 24-25 school year. And right
Yes, you-
before the meet,
You've skipped, unless we're moving Adatola's update.
oh, sorry, because it didn't have a number next to it and I can't read. I mean, it does, but it's up there. Like
Yeah.
the way it came in. Adatola, if you would like to please, sorry, I fixed my numbers now on my agenda. If you would like to please give an update from the city of Annapolis.
Okay. Hello, everybody. Don't really have that many updates. I will say that we are working with the Black Student Union and Pathways to Peace at the high school, trying to support the Peace Garden Project and their trip to the Commanders on October 20th. Believe that I'm speaking to Ms. McNeil. I'm going to help put together a sponsorship package for the event, but also just the outreach for it. They want to try to make it get people from the community to donate and be a part of the project. And I believe they wanted to use some funds to be able to give scholarships to young people from the low-income communities. We're in the process of scheduling our first college visit to Bowie State, and that'll be offered to the Annapolis High students. I think that's about it. Oh, you're mute.
You're trying to take students to the Commanders game. That's
Well, they Miss McNeil, Miss Mueller, they already have the Commanders thing set up. They had reached out to our office through the No Harm program to provide transportation. I've connected them with Bishop Carroll. I think he's going to help them out with the transportation. But we also, Miss Whalen asked the mayor if he would, if there were funds available to donate toward the Peace Garden project. So this fundraiser is a part of the Peace Garden project. So we're looking at how we can support it potentially financially, and definitely with our, staff and resources.
okay.
Oh, I will say that we had a mental health event yesterday in Robinwood. That was a pretty good turnout. We had a lot of elementary and middle school youth, some high school and parents. And we have an event October 26th at the Robinwood Community Center. So a haunted Halloween event at Robinwood. It's gonna be for the youth, and there should be a bike parade with it. The young man, Mr. Fix It Flat, he's leading that activity. We reached out to him, seeing all the great work he was doing with the youth in Robinwood and seeing how we can support. So we partnered for this Halloween event. Yeah.
Awesome.
Okay, great.
I had a question.
Okay.
I was just gonna say, when you do your, it sounds like a great visit to Bowie State.
Yes.
Can you, as part of that, when you're talking to the students, can you please remind them and explain to them the Delegate Henson Scholarship, the Delegate Jones Scholarship, and the Senator Elfreth Scholarship that's available for students who are attending Maryland universities?
Okay, definitely.
Those are, practically guaranteed money of some level.
Okay.
If you put forth the effort to answer the questions and be part of your community. Those are really worthwhile for our underrepresented and low-income students to get some decent money for colleges.
Yes. Okay, I will, definitely.
Does anyone else have any questions for Tola?
No, I just want to, tell Tola that it was a great event last night at the Robin Hood Rec about suicides. I mean, it's incredible. I think that we, as a society or commission, I don't know what more we can do, but let people know that there is help out there. I was a part of a group called NAMI. You ever heard of NAMI, Tola?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Right. And that's for mental health too, and suicides. But it was a great, if you want to say great, but it gave us a lot of information about suicides. So thank you for your office for doing that.
And thank you for attending. I connected the group with Miss McNeil. So potentially they'll be able to do that same presentation in the high school. So that's, but we haven't confirmed that yet, but that's what we're working on. But thanks for coming out.
Tola, I have a I have a question. What type of programs, if any, are you all offering in the middle and elementary schools?
So
Similar type things?
Yeah, so we this year we added 2 more staff with our no harm program. Our plan is that she'll work. One staff member will work both kind of like in between both middle schools. More or less, I'd like them to that particular staff person just to be accessible. I know they don't have per se a Panther 30 there at the middle schools, but we're working on the partnering with different groups that actually do after school programs and such. As far as the elementary schools, we plan to do our NAM, my other program that I manage, the NAM workshops with some young people. But we're just waiting for all the staff to get trained in the Be Present program with Andre.
Okay.
Mr. Dillard.
Andre Dillard, Mr. Dillard.
Yeah.
Okay.
But yeah, we I will say that our focus is kind of the high school, but definitely we would welcome any ideas for the middle school and how to engage better with elementary and middle schools. Yeah.
Okay. I know that Annapolis Middle has a community like meeting center now. And yesterday, or not yesterday, I don't know, might have been yesterday. I think it was on Monday. It's been one of those weeks. On Monday, we had our first day where it was open all day, and that's actually for parents and for supporting adults, which India pointed that out one time a few months ago about the use of the term supporting adults, which I just wanted to throw out there because it's something that I've been trying to use because I think it's a phenomenal, given the many different types of supporting adults that our students have. I think that's a great terminology. Just wanted to throw that out there because I really like it. But anyway, for supporting adults to come in and use this space, and there's a period where they can meet with Principal Hunt. Ms. Beller's there to talk about some of the community resources that are available. There's internet. There are computers. I wasn't able to go this week because I was in DC working all day, so I was really disappointed to miss it. But it's open all day. So it's basically a WeWork for AMS supporting adults, which is great. And you can come in and, just connect with the school, but also have a place where, if you need to just sit at a desk and get some things done or fill out forms or whatever else it is. So maybe that might be something worth, reaching out to Miss Beller and talking with her about that. Because
do you have my email address?
I do. Yep.
Yeah, could you send me Miss Beller's email?
I will. She's our community. So Annapolis Middle is a community school.
Yeah.
So she's our community schools manager, and works really hard to do a lot of great things. So
awesome. Oh, I just want to mention that I also met with Mary Moss Academy. They're a community school, but they also they formed a steering committee. So, I was the mayor's office representative, but it's also, I don't know if if this group is engaging with them, but they definitely are looking for support for trying to, their new initiatives they're starting in Mary Moss.
Okay, that's great. Is there more information about the new initiatives or steering committee just to try to get some different ideas going?
Well, I get, because I don't know all the details about the community school layout. But apparently, there's like phases. So there's like, they got to do asset mapping and, the asset mapping, I think, is going to help them determine the strategy for next year or whatever. But right now, I believe this is still in the gathering information part.
Okay. Awesome. Yeah, well, we'd love to. Maybe we can look to having them come on to one of our meetings and talk about what they have going forward.
Okay.
Anyone else have questions for Adetola? I would say also just back to something Janet said too, about AACPS, but also with the city, if you can, it would be great if we could have sort of more of an ongoing thing. And one of the things I want to talk about tonight is to hopefully have different, not all of our commission members are here, but have people identify which school they really, they'd like to, which school or schools they'd like to take sort of as their home schools. And kind of be a focus on. So maybe if something like that comes up, if whoever's the Mary Moss like lead could meet with, you could say, hey, we have this going on at Mary Moss. And I could say, okay, well, so-and-so has, Mary Moss, because I feel that is one of the things with the Education Commission where we're not sort of meeting our potential as a commission, because we're supposed to be that connection, right, between the city and city programs and the schools, but we're not. We're sort of out here talking about things, but we're not, we're not in that middle of that connection. So I think, the more that the commission can be involved, then we can help with what we know, because each of us is on this commission because we have a lot of resources and we have a lot of knowledge and network, and because we want to help and we want to do what we can do, right? And so if we could just be brought into more of the conversations, not just at our monthly meetings, but ongoing, I think that would help us all to be, because there's only, 10 meetings a year, and that's not nearly enough time to get things done. And nobody wants to stay here for 4 hours. So,
and I was gonna,
just
not to cut you off, but I don't know if I mentioned this last time, but definitely would help with as far as the city booking space to have in-person. I don't want to call them work sessions, but I feel like if people can come together on the commission, invite other people, and really work on some of these issues, an hour or two, like you said, the official meeting is only one, what you said, 10 meetings a year, but in between time, we could be meeting and just working on different things, per se. But like I said, if I could help getting space, that's what's cool.
Yeah, and I think that would be great. I think one of the things that we lost by when we went to virtual meetings was we used to meet in a different school each month, so that over a year and a half we would be in every single school in our cluster and get to meet the principals and the teachers and really get some more hands-on. And so it wasn't just our commission; it was much more of an. And I definitely would like to see more people. One of the issues that we have is, and this is something maybe you and I can sort of brainstorm offline, is one of the things that we gained by having online meetings is that a lot of the people that we're speaking to are parents who from 6 to 8 on a Wednesday night have a lot of things going on. And they can't be at every, we've given up our time to be here, whether we're online or whether we're, we were in person previously. But one of the things that we heard a lot prior to COVID and going online was that parents just really had a hard time meeting. And so being online allows people to listen in and pay attention. And what we have not been able to get approved is hybrid meetings, right? Which aren't that hard to do. I mean, I have all the equipment because I have to do it for multiple other things. We do it for the PTA meetings. I do it for work meetings all the time. And I mean, it doesn't have to be fancy, and I'm not asking, Julian to come out and stand at every meeting, but I feel like there has to be a way that we can facilitate a hybrid meeting, even if it's just one of us having, a microphone and a camera available at the meeting, and then we can do a combination of in-person and online and sort of do both of those things, which I think would be great. I think it would help us reach a wider audience and, provide benefits in both ways. So that's something maybe you and I can talk about in the next one.
Yeah.
And Tola,
when you email me, let's set up a Zoom and we can talk about ideas.
Sounds great.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah, Tola, do you send us a calendar of your events also?
So we have an app that where the city is in the midst of rolling out, it'll be like that. It'll be like basically have the events on the calendar. So I would just say like in a month or so, we'll be able to put that link out. But that's kind of the solution we have now as far as having like a calendar of events. But we're still rolling that new app out.
Okay, that sounds good.
Okay, so I think that's a good lead into the next part, which is double check, make sure I didn't miss anything again, which is discussion and status, and starting off with commission priorities for the 2024-25 year. And so I'm gonna share the screen of the questions that I had. I might share that screen that I put together. And this is, an open discussion. I would love to hear, from everybody. I want to, think about, we can actually start, well, what are your goals? So these are the questions that I want everyone to think about. Your goals as an education commission member for this year, your personal goals. What do you see as a priority? What do you see? We're all here because we support education, public education and education in the city, but we all have different goals and different priorities and different things that we notice on a day-to-day basis. I mean, Laura and I, Laura and India and I will communicate all the time, and one thing will come out and each of us will come to it from a totally different point of view, which is really helpful because it allows us to sort of see the broader view, just in a text message. So I'd like to get more of that ongoing. What are your goals as an education commission member for this year? Right now we're meeting on the 4th Wednesday of the month. And that seems, well, most of us can make it. It seems to be difficult because for Dr. Tobin and for people from the school system. So I just these are the dates that the city said are generally open. So if any of these are available, I'm going to talk about that. What is your preferred area of focus this year as a commission member? Do you particularly want to focus on, say, transportation or internet access or career prep, or elementary, needs? So if there is in addition to your goals as a whole, but is there an area that you would like to take on and say, I am going to, shepherd this particular area this year, so that when something comes up, if we hear of something, or we can send that to you, and you will be you will be the lead on that particular area. And then these things really should be up here. Who would you like to see at our meetings? What school do you want to take on as your home school? And then this is a little bit down the line in our agenda, but updates on education or the cluster that you would like to share. So I think we could just maybe quickly, go ahead, India. Yep.
Two quick things for goals. I want more advocacy to get Panther 30 back to Panther Hour, because the rationale given by Principal Wayland is bogus, for lack of a more polite term. Even as strong as I believe in the value of clubs, academics is priority, and it is impossible for kids to make up work in Panther 30 if out for more than one day. And then second, I guess just wishing more focus was on our actual public schools in terms of both funding and just leadership in general. As much as I understand the intent of supporting certain kids in need for different reasons, every time I see another new school pop up, with local leadership supporting it or promoting it, it just frustrates me thinking of all the resources and support kids in our main public schools could be getting.
Okay. Thank you very much. Does somebody else want to go, or shall I call on people?
Let's see. Oh, I'm on. Jess, I just want to put in one message. I think I've in the transition from me as chair to you as chair, I talked with Mr. Dickerson, who is the chief of staff with Dr. Bedell, and he was asking us to have him be the central conduit for any requests for school system employees. So if we know at our November meeting, we want to talk about community schools and we want a community schools representative to fill us in and ask questions, then our request would go through Mr. Dickerson to have that person participate at our meeting. And so he's going to try and shuffle whatever source we need and we would schedule them for the beginning of the meeting for, 15, 20 minutes at the beginning, and then they could tail off. So I just wanted to explain that to people. That's a new structure that Mr. Dickerson wanted to implement for this year.
Okay, for speakers at the meeting, because I would really like to get back to the part where we are inviting all of the principals and our leadership to every meeting. And hopefully they're not bailing off after they speak, but they're remaining online for the conversation and for, because I think that is an important part of what we have lost over the last few years, is having that sense of, communication and networking, with various people. So that is good to know for invited guests that I will make sure to reach out to Mr. Dickerson for that. That's great.
Yeah, but sounds like for both. He's trying to manage their time and schedules and things. It's kind of the curse we're trying to alleviate by being, one cluster within a large megalopolis of AACPS, and not getting not noticed and not paid attention to. So whatever we can do there.
Okay. Do you have did you want to talk about, since you're talking about your goals as a member?
Sure. One of the things, my personal goal, since I was a reviewer for Delegate Jones's scholarships, and each of the delegates and senators gives out like $52,000 to $55,000 per year. My goal is to get more kids from Annapolis High applying for those, because we had very few students from Annapolis High apply. You can be any year of, a freshman in college or vocational training school within Maryland, all the way through senior and some graduate programs. So getting those structural benefits going to more of our Panthers, kind of my goal is opening up bureaucracy. And it's always been opening up bureaucracy to benefit more of our students. So whether that's FAFSA, whether that's scholarships, whether that's getting more people knowing how to function within Naviance and learning when colleges are coming right to Annapolis High. That's my goal that I want to keep working on, breaking down the bureaucracy of AACPS so that our students can access the benefits.
Perfect. I would like to take this moment to put out another call for a secretary, because bureaucracy is a word that my dyslexia has never been allowed me to spell. So it was a perfect reminder of, while Janet is opening up bureaucracy, we really need a secretary on the commission to help with note-taking going forward. But I think that's great, Janet, and I would like to have you come over and teach me how to use Naviance, because
yes, I'm available.
Great. I know there was a parent meeting tonight. Actually, I'll take a quick moment of silence. There was a cardiac incident at the Annapolis High School senior meeting tonight. So while we are in this meeting, there was a mandatory senior meeting that was taking place at Annapolis High School, one of two, and there was a medical emergency. So for whoever in our family, in our community is affected, we'll just take a quick moment of silence. And hope that they are okay. And that also made me wonder if we have things like AEDs in our schools. And I'm not sure about the answer to that, but those can be really helpful. All right, is there somebody else that would like to? Thank you, Janet, for that. Somebody else that would like to speak about their goals for the commission this year, as a commission member this year? Don't make me call on you like a teacher. Enid, do you have any particular goals this year?
Yeah, I was looking at, I had a question first because one of them looks like it's been solved already. I've always, when we've called roll, there's usually two areas, wards that aren't represented, but I see Fisher as one and Sheila now. Can you represent the ward in the city, Sheila?
Yes, I can.
Okay, good. Then my goal has been met. I was going to make an effort to reach out to either the school in the area or a community department in the area to make sure, we have this system. And it's sad that up until now, we've never had a full representation. I think for years we've always had vacancies, but that's been taken care of, thank goodness. The second
Enid, I wouldn't say it's fully taken care of because of the way the charter of our commission is structured. They count both the Ward 4 position and the Alderwoman position, liaison position, into the number of commission members we have, against which we have to have quorum. So they don't reduce quorum because we don't have a Ward 4 representative. So we still have to get 7 members in order to pass anything for every meeting. So it does hamper us in ways, and not having someone who's actively in the Ward 4 schools, or somebody with young children right now, we could benefit from their expertise as well as having them be a voting member toward quorum.
How many at-large
May I clarify, because I did check with Hillary and the law department, and yes, I can serve in that capacity, and thus the quorum would change, absolutely. But I have, as per the code, I'm sure you probably have it in front of you, I can serve in that capacity. So
would our number
resolved.
be, so would you count as 2 people attending for quorum?
No, I would only count as 1.
But do we have a lower quorum number then?
Yes, you do.
Okay, if you can forward that to us in writings, just so we know that.
It's in the city code. I spoke with them verbally. So it's in the code.
Okay.
Thank you, though.
The other thing, thank you, Sheila. The other thing is the mentorship. We were talking about this for years and years and years. And I know that Mr. Dillard is, has that position, but I would really like to be a connector between the commission and the board, because I think that's so important. And as of now, I don't hear much about it. I would like to know more. I know there was some questions as to who would be able to be a mentor and stuff like that. Has that stuff been finalized? Have we reached out to people? That's what I'd like to know and get that information and bring it back to the commission. So I'd like to be the connector between that. And thirdly, all of these meetings, I cannot do Thursdays, absolutely cannot do Thursdays. So any of those days is fine with me except for Thursday.
Okay.
And I'd like to see more parents and principals at our meetings. Like you said before, when we did have meetings at schools, they were there. I don't know by choice or what, but they were there. And you did seem to get a little bit more information. And of course, the homeschool, I'm right by Mills Parole. And so that would be my homeschool. And I don't know much about, I did have a connection a few years ago with the new principal. I don't, but I certainly can start that up again if we as a commission can develop a letter where we can take into the school and say who we are and our purpose. I'd be glad to do that.
Okay, that's a great idea. Create a letter of introduction. You're right, because I think also in the years since COVID, there's been a lot of turnover on the leadership in our schools. So they might not even know about our commission. So That's a great idea. Thank you very much, Enid. I appreciate that. Uh,
I will
okay.
go next.
Yep, great.
I will go next. And my area for advocacy is for all of the schools in the city of Annapolis. I hear from parents and students and faculties in any number of schools for any number of areas. So my goal is to continue to be the advocates for our Annapolis schools. Dates vary. Sometimes Mondays are good, sometimes Wednesdays are good, other times they aren't. So my dates will vary. I'd like to focus on the educators. My background is in the teachers as past president of the Teachers Association, and not just the teachers, but educators, period. And updates, well, it's not an update, but we don't share information that's going on in the schools. Mr. Ajayi mentioned tonight a visit to Bowie. In October, our Links chapter is taking a group of students to Coppin State. Last year, they took them to Morgan State University. So there are a number of opportunities going on in the schools, especially with the LLA young ladies, that we should share that information about. Everyone's not able to participate in all of the programs, but at least at this point, but maybe in the future they can be. And just as a follow-up with Enid's comment about mentoring, I know the mentoring program has begun. I know there are some in the city who are mentoring. The city is giving employees, I forgot the time, several hours to mentor. I'd be interested in seeing how many people in the Education Commission are mentoring and how many people have been brought in. Because I know Mr. Dillard came to the Education Commission to explain the program. So are we assisting and getting mentors? That should be a goal for all of us to help increase the number of mentors. I guess the training is ongoing. I know they've had several training opportunities because I've had friends who have participated. So, thank you.
Jess, you're muted.
I didn't want to, just a show of hands. Is anyone on the commission currently working as a mentor? Working with the mentor program? Sheila is, okay. Anyone else? I know that I have 4 people in my house that I mentor right now, so, plus a lot of other friends. But I know, okay, let's see. Grace, how about, thank you, Sheila,
Well,
for that.
I haven't really given it any thought. However, being that for 25 years I was a counselor, I would certainly like to use my counseling skills with students. I haven't decided exactly how I want to do it, but maybe if I were to visit a couple of the schools, maybe they may have something that they would like for me to help them with as far as the students are concerned.
Okay. That's great. And then do you have any, we'll just go through the other ones real quick, but do you have any preferred meeting dates or days you cannot make it of those 4?
Right now, no.
Okay. All right. And then do you have a school in particular or multiple schools that you might like to take
Well,
on as your homeschool?
well, let me say this. Because I taught in the city for a period of time, for quite a number of years, and by now, many of those students that I taught are now grandparents. So I would probably be targeting Annapolis Middle and Bates and Perot.
Okay. I know one thing I think it would be helpful, just in general to keep in mind are schools like Mary Mills and Phoenix, which tend to have not quite as strong of a supporting adult network or necessarily a PTA. Or we discovered that recently with the Cash for Schools program that's going on with KB True Value, because the PTAs often are the connector for that, and there isn't one at Phoenix, for example. So if you wanted to donate to Phoenix, that
Okay.
so
Well,
we're
Phoenix,
working through that. I'm not just for you. I just meant in general. But if you would like to take on Phoenix or one of those, that'd be great.
okay. Well, Phoenix is not too far from me. It's like what, a 15 minutes walk. So probably, yeah.
Okay.
I would entertain this.
That would be great, because it'd also be good to get updates from Phoenix, what's going on, because I know they do amazing things there.
Okay.
Corey, how about you? If you're available. Or I'll give you a 2-minute warning and I'll go to Laura. So Corey, 2-minute warning, and Laura, you're up.
Oh, okay. I guess right now I didn't have.
I'm sorry.
Oh, go ahead, Corey.
She was
So
muted. Oh, yeah.
I was still trying to find, where I fit in on the commission. I've been on here since February, and I'm like still learning a lot from you guys, and I just need to find my lane.
Okay.
So I can get active.
Okay. Are any of those dates that we have not good for you?
They look good to me now, yeah. Yep.
Okay. Okay. We can chat offline, and you and I can talk about, if there's some ideas or different things that you might be interested in. We can figure it out before the next meeting.
Okay.
Awesome. All right. And Laura?
Yeah. Sorry, feeling kind of put on the spot. Goals for this year. Right now, honestly, this week, the technology aspect is really frustrating to me, and it's sort of taken forefront for me this week. Is just, I feel like we were talking about with Joanna that we've spent 4 years moving everything online, which makes sense because we do live in an online world. But there are so many barriers to the families in our cluster in terms of internet access to machines. So that's just an issue right now that's sort of at the top of my mind. So I would be happy to work on that. We have a lot of questions, obviously, about this new the loaner policy and how that's going to work. So I would be happy to be the point of contact or whatever on that, and I'll keep pushing for answers to our questions on those. Other areas, I don't know if it's a goal for me, but still trying to figure out some of our transportation issues. Getting our kids, up to the high school. Since I'm at the high school, that's an obvious point of contact for me, but I know others are there as well. And I live close to Georgetown East, so I would be happy to also adopt that. And I still miss Bates, so I would be happy to have excuses to go back to Bates in terms of schools that I am close to and would be happy to work with. Oh gosh, sorry.
Hey, Laura, before you move from that thought,
Yes.
Just to let you and others know that the city's transportation development plan folks are meeting right now during our meeting. So that if someone from the commission can stay connected with them, I attended some of the first kickoff meetings and stuff, but if someone can stay connected and providing input, we need to keep providing input to those city comprehensive plans, those transportation plans, and reinserting our students' needs in those planning processes and documents. Thanks.
Yeah, I submitted comments for that online, and I know we were talking about it. We had a Ward 7-8 combined meeting last week, and we were talking about, they have the new on-demand app. I'm still not sure because I haven't been able to get it installed on my phone yet, whether or not the service area includes the high school, and if we can make it include the high school so that our kids would have a means of getting back and forth. So I think that's something we definitely need to continue to advocate for, and yes, stay on their radar as well.
Okay, thanks.
Oh, and all of the dates work for me. Probably not Thursdays would be like my choice, but I can make it work.
I think Enid is a definite no Thursday, so Thursdays.
Okay, any of the remaining
door.
dates work for me.
No more Thursday.
The second Wednesdays, are those evening meetings for the Board of Ed? I know they
I think
alternate.
those are two, so.
Yeah, so
between
I think that's why we ended up with the fourth Wednesday to begin with, because of not wanting to conflict with board meetings. So I think maybe the Monday might be a better day because it won't, although I think that's county PTA, I think, if I'm remembering correctly.
It is, you're right. I wanted to see too whether they were going to change, like whether they were sticking with their schedule or not. So, okay. And actually, Laura, something that you brought up, so my goal as an education commission member for this year is to try to be a good chair and keep us moving forward and keep change happening and keep supporting our schools. Obviously, because I'm in all three levels of the school system, I'm seeing, all three different things and how the different programs, are, whether it's from technology and everything are at least within three schools are working out. I really would like to see more participation from the PTAs. So that is definitely something I would really like to see at least one person, try to get one person from every PTA on here as a, participating person. And so, because I think I think it really helps to have somebody that that is involved in the school and can see what's going on and the questions that people have. And as Sheila was saying, that I think that's all of us, right? We are all hearing from people all over in all different areas, not only within our own neighborhood, but all over. And when we bring to the table, when we bring our thoughts and our concerns, it's not only our personal thoughts and concerns and things we're worried about, but we bring what we hear, and it's a cumulative when I'm speaking at the Education Commission, I'm not just speaking at these are the issues that Jess Packler and her 4 children have, right? These are the things that my community as a whole has brought to me and I'm bringing to, and that I'm seeing and I'm experiencing and that we are all experiencing. And so, I think that having even more of that from having the PTAs involved, I think would be really great to see. But one of the, yep.
Yes. Do you recommend that any of us pop into a PTA meeting and explain what the Education Commission does or how advocacy works within the city?
I definitely do. And I think that as part of that, the homeschool is not only connecting with the principals and the leadership of the school, but also the leadership of the PTA, if there is a PTA. Not all schools have a PTA or parent organization, but most of them do. And so I think, whatever.
I think it would be worthwhile in just letting people know that, hey, the next level of school, just because your child is rising to that next level, doesn't mean the resources are going to be there if you haven't advocated for them in advance.
Correct. Yeah, no, I think that's really important. Speaking of resources, Tola, one of the things I wanted to see, what if you have any idea or where we could, speaking of the technology thing, the internet access issue, that is a big issue. especially since kids have less access to computers in their school, particularly the high school kids have less access to computers in the school on a daily basis. Not having the free Wi-Fi available anymore for a large number of people is a limitation, right? And so, do you know, has there been any talk at the city level about that? And are there any plans, or is there something that we can do together to work towards coming up with a better an answer for this?
I don't know of any talk. I mean, we've been, working with Comcast. I thought that they had a free internet service, but I'm not too
They
sure.
canceled it.
Oh, they
It's
did?
over. Yeah.
Okay. Only thoughts I have is, potentially having the commission meet with the representative from Comcast, and potentially we advocate, for those residents. I just don't know. I don't know exactly how that would work, but I know that I've met with Chris Comer, and he's very receptive to new ideas, or at least he'll let us know exactly what they can or can't do.
Okay.
May I make a suggestion, Mr. Ajayi? If you will reach out to Brian Packlin and
Okay.
ask him for guidance on how you can help the committee get the information that they're looking for.
Okay, well.
That'd be great.
I'm curious. I know that some of the housing, some of our housing communities have a community center. Is there Wi-Fi? It never occurred to me to ask, but is there free Wi-Fi available? Like if kids wanted to go in there to do homework, if they had a Chromebook for home use, would they be able to go in and access the Wi-Fi there?
I don't even want to start that conversation.
Okay.
Some of them are not as open as they used to be due to staffing, so that's part of the problem,
okay.
right? Right.
Yeah, definitely. And because I was at Robinwood yesterday, they do have Wi-Fi, but they don't have the staff to keep the centers open right now. So.
The Wilbourn Estates does have Wi-Fi, but again, they don't have staffing to extend the hours beyond, I think, 4:30.
Or students.
Or anybody else, yeah. But yeah.
Okay. All right. So that's a good. And then is there anybody in particular that you would like to see us invite as a guest? I know we talked about having Mr. Dillard come. Is there anybody else, whether it's in the school system or elsewhere, that we would like to sort of get an update from or an explanation of?
I was just thinking the library.
Having the library come, having AACPL come?
Yeah, possibly, the CEO Skip or whoever's in charge of the Annapolis area. I know they have the free hotspots that you can rent out, but they may, the foundation might have some ideas as far as the internet. So I was just thinking of that.
Yeah.
Okay, that's a great idea. I know that people often say like, oh, the library is an option, but given the transportation issues, it's not as convenient as it could be for a lot of our families. So, sorry. So I'm just taking that notes.
Jess.
Yep.
Yeah, I would like to see someone come from the magnet programs and explain them and how the admission process.
Magnet programs, okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I mean, that's just a thought, because I'm advocating now for a child that has great talent, but didn't get the information in time to apply for the program. And see, some of these kids come from homes where they don't get that information. by email or whatever, So,
particularly if they don't have internet.
Right.
right. So we still working on it. He has great talent. Everybody admits to it. But we need to try to come up with other ways where, some of these kids can be, not exposed, but be seen,
Right.
and know about their gifts.
I agree. I mean, I will say, as somebody who does have internet and who does have, is super involved, it's still hard for me to keep track of all of the different things. So if you don't have access to any of those things, or if your parents, I mean, with working parents and all the different things, I think communication is one of those things that we've talked a lot about. I think Janet's comment about the press release is a perfect one. My an editor that I used to have at the Capitol used to always say, make sure you don't bury the lead, right? We need to make sure we don't bury the lead, and make sure that our communication is getting out in every way possible. We cannot assume that everybody has access to email. We cannot assume, we have to make it as easy as possible for the most amount of people to get the information that's being put out, whether it's about the magnet programs. I had a long conversation this summer with the high school because all of the information about signing up for sports was sent out only through email. So none of the information that went out about sports registrations for the first month and a half of that sports registrations were open went out through text messaging. It only went out through emails, which
Wow.
obviously just misses a whole gap. And so, so they, fortunately, I spoke with somebody at Annapolis High School. They were very responsive and immediately sent something out via text, which was great. But, we just need to make sure that that doesn't happen, because we want everyone to be able to access everything as much as possible, because it's that one thing, that one kid who doesn't get to try out for track, or that doesn't get the information about the STEM program, or, and that could have been the whole thing. So.
Yeah, and I wanted to add about the magnet programs is those applications are early. Like, a lot of times families aren't even thinking about, your kid just started 8th grade and the magnet applications open up in, I think, usually end of September, beginning of October. And they close usually the end of October, beginning of November. So like for a family that is just still trying to figure out, hey, 8th grade, you've got to get those applications in now for a program for next year. And a lot of times by the time families start thinking about it, they've missed those deadlines. So we do need to give some signal boosts to the magnet program deadlines so that families know, when that is. And also the guidance counselors will help kids with that application process, but we need to encourage kids to contact their guidance counselor. Go in and talk. During Panther 30 or whatever, go in and talk, or whatever the middle school version of that is. Go in and talk to your guidance counselor about those magnet programs if that's something that you're interested in, so that they can help you with those applications.
Right. What about when, for instance, Odessa asked about the evening program? Could we have somebody to come and tell us, what the application process, who does well in the evening program, what is the process?
Yeah,
that'd be great.
I think that would be great. I think, and there's a few, there's the evening, there's the virtual, there's the, I forget the name of it, the program that takes place over at Bates, at the Bates Senior Center, not at Bates. There's different programs that I think it helps to know about. The number of times that I've spoken with people who have no idea about the AVID program, for example, which can be life-changing. And it can be a life-changing program for kids. So, I think that's a great idea. And the goal also being not only to inform us, but to inform the greater community, so that this information gets out there, because, we can't put it all on the shoulders of our already over-shouldered counselors, not enough counselors at the schools. So, okay. Is there anyone else? Yeah.
Oh, I know we had Dr. Shannon Pugh come talk to us before about the community schools program, but she's also our blueprint coordinator. It's a higher level view, but I would really love to have her come back and talk to us specifically about the changes being as a result of blueprint. I mean, we know that it includes more vocational, like for example, it includes more vocational training for students who may not be college bound, which is a higher level view, but I'd like to know how AACPS is implementing that. What does that mean to us, at the high school level? How are those sorts of changes? And also if that means that additional programs or things are available to students in our schools, how can we be aware of things that might be coming and draw some awareness or advocate for things that we think, if there's funding available that we could advocate for a specific purpose. We need to know about it in order to do that.
That's a great idea. Okay. In addition to that, I thought it was really, I should know this because I have 2 children in the IB program, or I have 4 children in the IB program, 2 in the high school IB program. I was not aware of the IB career side of things. Clearly, as much as I should have. I knew about the diploma program, but I was not aware of the IB career program. So Odessa, that's something I think, so IB career is you're an IB student, but you're not going for the diploma testing, and that you're able to expand your classes a little bit. Like I have one of my son's friend is in the IB career program and is doing welding at Cat South, where you're in the IB program, but with a career focus, so I definitely would like to get someone to come in and talk to us about that program, because I think, that there's often this sort of, well, I can either be IB or I can be career, but as it turns out, you can be both, and you can still be IB and not if you feel that the diploma program is not your perfect fit. So
I've never heard of that. I've never heard of those 2 different programs.
Also, neither had I. So as I was saying about how you can be right here and really involved and still not know really important things like a whole program.
Exactly.
Right. Okay. So I think that, does anyone else have anything else about these questions?
Well, just along with that, same with the IB and the magnet programs, the more about the change engineering program at A High. I know we had somebody come and speak to us about that a couple of years ago, but it's a terrific program, and I think it is something that maybe families may not be as aware of. And along with advocacy, now that they have free tuition at the community college and kids can do the dual enrollment, also talking about how are we getting kids back and forth, because I think transportation again ends up being a barrier to kids who might want to take advantage of the dual enrollment program, because they have to be able to get from A High up to the community college. So I don't know if that's something their city transportation can assist with that, or if there is some, if that's something we should be campaigning AACPS to add some sort of bus transportation back and forth for kids. I know the scheduling is harder because of the just the more variation in the college schedule, but
well, I mean, are there guidelines for that free tuition? Because I'm hearing different stories about, some can get it and some can't get it. And I mean, how does that work?
It's for kids it should be free for kids who are currently enrolled at AACPS. So if they're already in high school, they should be able to take classes at the community college level. But I'm not sure how much. I'm not sure how feasible it is for a lot of our students at A High, because again, of transportation and you get there.
Right. India, did you have a comment? Oh, sorry.
No, it's free for anybody who wants to attend the tuition at the community college.
For kids who are currently in an AACPS school. So
Okay.
if you're still in high school, they should, it is supposed to be free tuition.
But you
Oh,
have
if
to
you're
have
still in
certain
high school.
prerequisites, right?
I mean, I would imagine, I mean, you have to be qualified to take whatever the
Yeah,
class
you have to,
is.
yeah, it's not just anybody. You have, there's a set of factors and qualifications
right.
that exist.
Well, that would be nice to have someone to come and talk about that too.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
All right, India, go ahead.
Quickly, given I am literally wearing a Hillsmere shirt tonight, even with my son 4 years out, and myself almost 4 decades out, I guess Hillsmere is my home school.
Perfect. I will write you down for that. Okay. Okay. So updates, or move on to updates regarding the education. Did it go to the agenda? Can you guys see the agenda? I can't tell what you guys. Okay. And I mean updates. Sorry. Updates regarding the things that are happening in the schools. So I have a couple that I wanted to talk about. First of all, I hope everybody watched the Annapolis High School football game, or heard about it, or read about it on Friday night, because it was amazing. And it was a great game. First of all, it was very competitive, and we beat Severna Park, and it was fantastic. And we beat them 49-33. And Tyler Womack, who I've known since he was in first grade, ran 315 yards and is now the number one running back in the state of Maryland. And everyone else played really, I mean, they were just all these phenomenal plays, kickoff returns for touchdowns. It was great. And it was a perfect example of, when we talk about Annapolis High School and the reputation that Annapolis High School or the Annapolis cluster gets, and it was just great sportsmanship. It was great everything. The cheerleaders were phenomenal. Annapolis Middle School band was there performing with the Annapolis High School band. There was a whole section that was both Annapolis Middle and Annapolis High School, and then the Annapolis marching band, the Annapolis High School marching band did a great halftime show, and they've really grown this year in size, and they were phenomenal. And it was just really awesome. So congratulations to the Panthers, and please come out, see an Annapolis High School game. We didn't have a ton of spectators this time, but it would be great to see more. And it'd be great to cheer on our totally amazing students in all of their capacities that were there. We have a great student section that gets there, and they dress up, and are in it was red, white, and this one was Jersey week. Red, white, and blue was the week before that. But the student section are there, parents are there. We have, the sports boosters selling delicious tacos in a bag and Italian sausages. So you don't even have to make dinner. You just go and support the boosters. Anyway, it was awesome. So yay, Panthers. That was my one big update. And then I also have an update about the boosters, but I'm gonna let, if anyone else has an update about any of the schools or anything, while I pull up the boosters update that I wanted to pull up. Go ahead, Janet.
Jess, I'll just mention that on the Annapolis High School community Facebook page, our Ms. Hogan, Becky Hogan, who was the previous coordinator of the Change Engineering Signature Program, has transitioned to a role at the community college. And so she's even better positioned to know how to help our students take those early college access programs and how to maximize the link between Annapolis High students and getting community college benefits.
Great. So maybe we can have her come and.
Yes. So she, on the page, she has posted, she said, I created a website to compile a lot of the resources that you and your student might find helpful when considering taking classes at AACC while still enrolled as a high school student, or while taking after graduating. So the commission, why don't we share that Google site with our commissioners so they can share it with the rest of their communities. So,
Perfect. And that is one of the things I do. We do have a Facebook page, and I do want to start, utilizing it more to make sure that we're sharing the information that is out there.
I still recommend that all the commissioners get on the Annapolis High School community Facebook page, because it is such a great resource that you've started, that people like Ms. Hogan post super helpful things to know about.
Right. And I would also say, as much as I don't love using Instagram as a way of communicating school information, Instagram is currently one of the primary ways that the school, Annapolis High School, and all the various clubs and everything. So if you're on Instagram, I recommend going and taking like 20 minutes and just following all of the sports and all of the clubs and all of the things, and seeing all of the amazing things that are happening around our school. So one thing that's happening, and I think tonight is the last night to purchase tickets, is the Sports Booster Club for social at Beacon Waterfront. Tickets are $50, and it's adults only. This QR code right here, you can take your phone right now and snap a little picture of it, and you can log on, or you can just Google Annapolis Sports Boosters. It comes right up. So that's going to be a really fun event to support the Sports Boosters. And then speaking of supporting the Sports Boosters, we have the, or not sports, just Sports Boosters, but speaking of supporting our students, the Commanders sign up is ongoing. So if you are a
Commanders, what the Commanders sign up is.
Yeah, I was just about to. So if you are a fan of football, or if you're just a fan of supporting Annapolis High School clubs and activities, literally any official Annapolis High School club or activity or class of 2025 or whatever can be supported. We every time there is a home Commanders game, we go to the Commanders field. We get there about 4 hours early, and we set up either like a concession booth, like you see in the picture on the screen. And that's one of the Tostitos booths. Or we do the Dream Seats, which are where people pay extra money to get free hot dogs and sodas. And we cook the hot dogs and then run the hot dogs and sodas down to the staff of the Commanders stadium, where they hand it out to the people. It is a great way. At the most recent game, we made over $1,200. We've already made this year, we've already made, I think, we made about $5,000 already this year. And so every student, if my senior signs up, he may sign up, and he's playing golf right now, so he may sign up and be part of the golf team. So the money he raises that day goes to the golf game. The next time he might do the baseball team, and so the money he raises that. So it's a great way to micro support each of the different organizations, or you can sign up and support the PTSA, just the PTSA, and then that money will be used to whatever is most needed at that time. I will share this in our emails. I already shared it in our emails to the commissioners, but I'll also put it out on the Education Commission Facebook page. It's a really fun way, and you get to see some of the football game. And you do not have to be a student to volunteer for this. I just want to make that clear. A couple weeks ago, we had one student, and it was all adults. So, a lot of times on the weekends, students have games, they have other things going on. But if you are an adult and you don't have a student, or you just want to go and hang out at Commander Stadium, it's a great way to support our school. So I have that is to share. Also, there are various parking opportunities to support various schools, whether it's Navy games or boat show parking or other things. Please make sure that before you park on the street, or you park somewhere to look around at Germantown or Eastport or anywhere else that's offering parking, and support those schools, because that is a really important fundraiser for those schools. Let's see. Anybody else have any updates for the schools or for the school system? Okay. Any unfinished business that anyone wanted to bring up? Oh, it is Hispanic Heritage Month, so please make sure you're checking your local, your school that you're with, and all the schools, and the school website. There are a ton of things going on. Also, the new AACPS app is for everyone. It is not just for supporting adults. You do not have to have a student in the school system to download the AACPS app. You have to have a student in the school system to connect to the rooms and the teachers and communicate that side of the app. But the app is a really great way to get a lot of that information that's being sent out through the school system, and really see what's going on. So I would recommend that everybody on the commission, if you have not signed up for the AACPS app, to please sign up for it. And eventually it will be easy to find on, thanks to Laura's hard advocacy to be able to find it and download it, but I'll send the link out for now. But it is a really great way to get information on all the different schools. And any new business? Nope. All right. So if not, I will take a motion to adjourn.
I make
Enid?
I make a motion that if all business is concluded, that we adjourn.
second.
Second.
Okay. Anyone not in favor of adjourning? All right. Thank you, everyone. Please continue to support our amazing schools. Please continue to spread the word about how great they are and to speak out against the false information that's out there about our schools, and go all the schools, Panthers, Dragons, I'm forgetting what the Bates is. Cougars, and
Panthers.
Future Panthers, all the Panthers and Future Panthers. And thank you all for your advocacy. I will be in touch with emails and more information about everything that we talked about tonight, so we can set a good plan going forward. And